the hell?
Like, how is that? Yeah.
What just happened? I was sleeping for 8 hours and it felt like 15 years.
Yeah, so it's completely relative,
Yeah.
and we're totally limited to it. It's a limiting factor. It's not a freeing factor. So outside, and even science will tell you there is states of being outside of space and time. It's just part of science now.
Part of the physics of our universe.
Yeah.
What's going on, people? This is 1166 Podcast, and I'm your host, BLKZEN, BLKZEN. This is the first ever 360 VR podcast. If you love what we do, please like, subscribe, comment, leave 5-star reviews, everything. Without further ado, let's get to the content.
Okay. All right, boom. Ready? Let's get it. What's going on, people? This is 1166 Podcast, and I'm your host, BLKZEN, and we are here on episode 13. If you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe, leave 5-star reviews. I'm gonna give y'all a little message. YouTube and Google are not allowing me to promote this. They deem it as quote-unquote shocking content, and I've attempted to monetize many episodes, and that's a consensus, even though I can finally monetize. So your support means a lot. Thank you so much. Without further ado, for the second time on, we have Adam. What's going on, bro?
Hey, yo, what do you mean? So what do you mean? What happened? Like, why shocking content?
Right. I purposely didn't even tell you because I was like, let me wait until we start filming so I can like break it down.
Okay, so break it down. Like, do they tell you? Did a particular episode or did a particular video get flagged, or when did you find out that it was shocking content?
Every single episode is flagged.
For what?
Quote unquote shocking content. Like,
how do they measure that, and who's measuring it? Is it automated, or is it done by someone?
I don't know. I think that it's potentially done automated, but it could just be whoever is like watching my YouTube within the scope of like the company Alphabet, because you know Google is owning YouTube. So I think that somebody might be just flagging me. I don't know, honestly. It could be either or.
It could be that certain keywords are, a little red flag goes up, and then someone has to come look at a lot of these red flagged.
I've appealed them though. I've appealed every instance, and it's like every episode's kind of different. The commonality I think of each episode is getting into like positivity. Every episode kind of ends like on a real positive note, on some introspective kind of thing. That's what they're like, nah, no positive shit. Fuck that.
Yeah.
We need something more provocative.
Yeah. I wonder what it is. It could be,
I don't know. It's not like I'm sitting here talking about weed and drugs every episode. I don't talk about, you know what I mean?
I was about to say, like, but last time we were on, we talked a little bit about a little bit. We didn't talk about it. We were doing it though.
But that's not like a thing that's like the first time I've done that.
Really?
Episode 4 is flagged. Episode 3, 2, every episode's flagged.
Yeah. Jeez.
Shocking content.
So that just means that you can't monetize it.
Technically, I can't promote it.
You can't promote it.
I'm already able to monetize. I'm already in the YouTube partner program.
Okay.
Fuck you guys at YouTube. Actually, sincerely, fuck you. Unless you take my shit off shocking content.
This one is flagged.
Fuck you. I'm gonna get flagged anyway. Fuck you guys. Sincerely, fuck you. Embrace this revolutionary type of thing. If not, fuck you.
Yeah, for real.
I'm gonna go to Rumble. You can eat a dick.
Guys, come on. Yeah, seriously. Like, guys, listen. To all of you people out there that have like middling positions in some, tech conglomerate, whether that's Google or YouTube or whatever, you guys gotta really, really open up, man. Open up. You 1 or 2 steps behind at all times.
Facts.
If you allow yourself to be open to what people are doing and like expand that without being so afraid, things are gonna be great. All right, don't be afraid.
Yeah, like they're scary, and I'm like,
they scared, bro.
You know this I knew this was a thing at episode like 4, and I reviewed episode 4. Like I actually sat down and watched the whole thing over.
Who was on that? Who was it?
I believe I had Captain Morgan. He's a comedian, influencer friend. I had him on. It was either him or Steven Petrone, who's a videographer. No, it was Brandon.
Okay.
And we were It wasn't shocking. We were talking about people like embracing themselves and coming into who they are as a person. So I'm like, what's shocking about this?
I don't know.
I didn't show any clips of murder. Like, what the hell?
I don't understand. It
It is what it is. You know what I mean? I ain't tripping though.
It's all good.
Hell yeah.
It's whatever.
They gonna get with it. They gonna get lost. I could care less.
That's true. That's what it is, man.
I am. So I'm gonna ask you a deep question. Since we were like when you came in, I was watching Peter Attia chopping it up with Chris Williamson. Peter Attia, we were talking about like how Peter Attia and how he's been showing up more in a lot of different things. He might drop a book soon, who knows? But how long would you want to live if you could be healthy? Like, what's an optimal age if you could stay at that age for the rest of your life? It's kind of two questions packed into one.
That's an interesting one because like the only reason why we
I'm
ever
sorry, can you do me a
say
favor? Can you turn off that? You can just tap the middle button, like again. Yeah.
like we think about the age that we believe we're gonna start shutting down, and we usually will choose like not to go much further than that.
Yeah.
But are you saying any age we want?
So
Like complete health?
I'm gonna go at it, and I'm gonna tell it to you in a fantastical way, like an anime-esque way, and then like a scientific way.
Okay.
So if you were like a vampire and you drank blood to, you know, optimal volume, you revert to your most ideal age and physical conditioning, everything. That's like the fantastical kind of setting. But really and truly, it's about optimizing your healthful life. Because, you know, for example, somebody could live to 90, but if they're bedridden from 80 to 90, it's kind of a trash existence.
Right.
Opposed to somebody who might live 90, 95, and they're moving, having sex, walking the dog up until like 92, you know, so last 3 years kind of suck. Or like in Vinland Saga, for example, the old man,
Yeah.
the bedridden old guy,
Yeah.
he was on the field for a minute.
He was.
He was on the field
until one day he just couldn't, like one day it was over.
He just physically couldn't do it anymore. And now it's like he's at the end of his life. He might die in like a month or so, but in the scope of his life, he's had a long, healthful life.
Right.
You know? Moderately, because we don't know how, you know, how much he's had mobility and whatnot. But, you know, I'm thinking more along those lines. So what age would be your optimal age if you could live the rest of your life? And how long would you want to live?
That's interesting. It's funny because I've had like fluctuations in how healthy I am. I think that you can be really healthy and functional at all different ages, you know what I'm saying? But like I think that there was a time in my 20s where I was like maximum like flexible, healthy, strong, energy, all that. I feel good now. Comparably,
you healthy as hell, bro.
I'm pretty healthy. Yeah,
you healthy.
But my wisdom is greater now, so I feel better in total now than I did then. So, but that's taken out of the equation because we're thinking about carrying a body throughout, like let's say a certain amount of time. All right, so I'm gonna just say 20 something, right? Take my
21, because 20
okay.
what? Because 21 and 29 are very different.
Yes, I'm gonna say I'll say 25.
25. Mid 20.
Yeah. I was doing martial arts still. Everything was good, and like, you know, I was just a brand new adult pretty much.
Yeah.
So I'll take that and keep going. And then I say I don't think I need to live more than 100 years.
Why?
Because
why 100 specifically?
Because of other people's ages, like. Do you remember an interview? Did you see Interview with a Vampire?
I didn't see it, but I read it.
Okay, so
it was fun. It was fun.
It's fire.
But Lestat was annoyed. Everything was cyclical. He was like, "Yo, life is
it's
humans do the same shit over and over."
Exactly. So like he wanted Louis, like, and I remember Louis even saying to him like, "I'm not gonna be like your
bitch.
Your connect to like like your assistant to help you get acclimated to the new cycle." You know what I mean? Like I'm not the embodiment of the new cycle, which is what I think Lestat was trying to, like, he just was so bored.
He wanted a plug. He wanted
a plug.
Give me a reason to care about society right now.
Right.
That's different. Show me something.
So I think that the cyclical nature and the buildup of like the next generation and the next generation and awakening on like a collective consciousness level is so important that in me encapsulating myself to be like this immortal that like gets to skip that and not die and not experience that part. I think it's almost like somebody being in a party. Let's say like you rent it out, downstairs you got the party. Let's say you rented out 2 parties, right? And like there's one party and then there's one after. And then like they're in the party and then the party's over and they leave. But they don't leave. And they're just sitting there and they're still drinking and they're still dancing, and then the people come in for the new party, and they're gonna have that's just the whole arc of the party where it's like it starts and then it turns up and then people get tired and then they leave, and then I'm there through the whole thing and telling them about everything that happened in the last party, and it's
and
like
they can't relate.
No, because now is now. You know what I mean? It's now is always now, and the only one who's gonna experience that transcendence is gonna be me, and it'll just be me. So if I feel like I need to learn that lesson and learn what it's like to live 200 years, then okay, but I don't think that's why we're here, I think we're here to have an end. It's like, when like a series is like, damn, that should have just ended at season 3 because it was fire, and then I would have walked away with that with the whole pack. It would have been a beautiful ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then season 4 and 5 suck, you know what I mean? Like that might be what it's like, cuz let's say I look 25, right?
Yeah.
And then I meet a 25-year-old girl. And she's like, oh man, you're so whatever. And like the connection, she's like, I'm going to be missing something so powerful.
75 years of life experience.
Right. That I might as well just walk the earth like Judas alone. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this though. What if it was not just you? What if it was like a community of people? What if it became a trend where people start boosting and getting to like $150?
I think
if that became a trend opposed to it just being you.
Yeah, I think that's not only possible, but I think that would be dope.
Yeah.
I would absolutely consider it more with a group of people so that we could see what we accomplished together in that time. Like where.
How can you benefit the planet?
Yes.
That's more what I'm thinking. Like imagine living 200 years, having this, let's say like 200 plus, right? But having at a year, I don't know, 150, having 150 years of life experience and helping the planet to not to one. Push it to a more in the sense of the planet and what is beneficial for Earth in a more profitable way for the planet, but 2, also undoing the bullshit that we've done in the past, and 3, making sure we don't repeat those same mistakes and breaking certain cycles of humanity doing nonsense.
100%. I mean, you could see a whole project through rather than being like, oh, I'm getting old, like
I gotta pass it down. Who's
gonna take
hopefully
this?
Carry my message? Like I'm gonna do my own message, beginning to end, completely.
And then you have time to build up something that lasts. You could build up like some kind of a legacy or a corporation or a group or whatever, and be there for it to make sure that it sustains itself. And then when you're gone, it's strong enough to survive while you're not there.
Do you remember JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Of course.
You remember the Speedwagon Foundation?
Exactly.
So like
Something
imagine
like that.
living through the generations and being like the OG Speedwagon and setting up with the different JoJos and the humanity, and then it's like, all right, now I can pass it on. My kid, you have all sorts of shit. I have all sorts. Here's the thing too. I feel like if people can live that long and maintain fertility, the amount of knowledge that parents can pass on to children, oh my Lord.
It would be
150. Imagine your dad's like 150. Has you, you're now 40 something, and your dad's like, all right, I'm about to leave soon, but you have a long life, and I've left you not only crazy foundation, I've given you over a century of knowledge. Go on, my child. Like I feel like that would kind of boost the, I don't know, like the average level of human thinking.
It would. Human beings on average would be much wiser, and I think that to a certain degree our fate is that, like, our fate is to be wiser, but I think that we are going to continue to suffer first. Like I think the path to that wisdom is like this polarization that just kind of like fucking has us facing off against the reflection of us, like whatever dark side we think that we're not dealing with right now is going to be reflected into some other thing in front of us, and then we have to reconcile our own bullshit.
I agree with that. And I think right now, like, the way the dollar's moving, a lot of countries are like skipping around the US dollar. Countries are making their own treaties. AI is doing certain things. Dalai Lama got accused of doing sus stuff. This person's getting accused of sus stuff.
Yeah.
Like what is it? What's the name of the thing with the yellow brick road? What is that called? What's the name of that shit? The Wizard of Oz. In the Wizard of Oz, eventually they saw what was behind the smoke and mirrors. And I think right now we're getting to see what's behind the smoke and mirrors, but this is the natural step for us. We have to see what's behind the smoke and mirrors to then move forward.
Yeah.
Change is inevitable. As many people try to stop change, it's futile because it will happen. You can delay it. It's going to happen though.
It's going to happen no matter what. And people are afraid of so many things. Like, I think all of the political discourse, all of the most like virulent conflict laden political discourse is all about shit that people are afraid of. It's not necessarily about like good projects. Like, you know, like when you wake up in the morning, you be like, you know, what do I want to do today? Like, what dope thing do I want to do today? If you're lucky enough where you don't have to just go to a job that you hate. You know, I'm lucky enough where like I have more freedom. So do you. You have a little bit more freedom. Not necessarily has anything to do with money. It just has to do with being.
So do what you love and help people.
Yeah,
and not hate yourself at the end of what your work.
Not be miserable, not hate yourself, and then be able to pay your bills. You know, like if you can pay your bills, then you're lucky. You know, you can pay your rent, all that. You have a place to live in New York.
Most expensive city on the planet as of October 2022.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Absolutely. So if you paying enough to make it, you good, and then if you have a little bit of time to yourself, that's great too. But there are some people who, at any given time, the thing that they're thinking about most is something that that is a bad thing. They're like, this relationship, how do I get out of this relationship because I hate this, or how do I deal with this insecurity that I have because I feel so shitty about myself, I feel so lost. So the first thing that they're doing is trying to address something that they're afraid of, or that they hate, or that they're angry about, or that they're sad about. Like, that's, imagine like instead of eating food, you eat just a bunch of like poison or something. Like that's what you're taking in. Like that's your first thought.
You just said a very particular word, and it fits with what me and my cousin were talking about yesterday. Me and my cousin Gordon, we were on the phone, and he was telling me, because he's like, you know, getting near his end of his 40s, his end of his 30s, and he's like, yo, I need to make certain changes. He dibble dabble to being vegan. Gordon, shout out if you're watching this. And he was telling me I need to go back to being vegan. I'm noticing my body, like people around his age are like falling apart, and he's pretty on point because he's had a track record of being on point, but has fallen off. So he was saying that it also goes into changing who he's around because the offerings are different. And he brought up how, for example, with me, like when somebody walks in, I don't say, you want liquor? It's like, do you want tea? And I feel like more people need to, I don't know, I think it would be great if more people thought about it like that. Instead of offering each other poison, instead of saying, hey, let's go out to this party and drink alcohol, let's go to the club, change that into, yo, let's map something out, let's build something together, let's drink tea, let's work out, let's work out, let's
go for a walk, let's do something creative,
something that'll add value. Because I feel like we're so trained as a society, in mainstream Western American society, to have fun with people, but it's like that shouldn't be how you show somebody you love them, because you're breaking them down. And even though you're having fun with them and it benefits both of you guys in the moment, in the long run it's negative. So why not do something that's fun now and beneficial to the other person? To me, that's more about compassion opposed to breaking down their body for the moment.
Right.
Like, and
also, you know, a lot of our vices come from kind of like medicating our bad feelings, like our traumas and shit. So like
100%.
So like, if a bunch of people like, yo, let's go drink, you know what I mean? Let's go out and drink, you know what I mean? That is in itself like a form of escape, and the alcohol is obviously gonna be putting a little bit of a damper on something. Like you feel more free. So, but why don't you feel that free without the alcohol? Their egoic experience is what colors everything they perceive. So no matter what, everything that I notice is coming from the perspective of Adam. Like it has to. There's no other way.
Everybody has a subjective filter. On a philosophical level, like everybody has a subjective filter in their thought.
Always, at all times. That's the only way that you can experience anything.
With that subjective filter.
True. So So then when you're making an observation, you have to remember, and you're like talking to people and you're sharing with them stuff, especially when you're reflecting back to them stuff. You got to remember that that's not objective. That's not necessarily the truth. It's just what you feel, what you believe. It's your truth.
I've had so many arguments with women about this in the past. Like, just because you know when you're like doing like a little first date kind of thing, you're figuring each other out. And I've let people in the past know, I'm like, listen, I think in a continuous format, nothing is black and white.
Right.
Everything we know could be wrong. All we have is evidence, because we have two things: evidence and general consensus. Those are the two metrics we base reality off of, right? So whenever somebody proposes something to me, I'm like, yeah, that could be it, but there's another side. I can't take one side of a story that I wasn't there to experience. And people be like, oh, but how can you derive anything off of that? And I'm like, that shows me some toxicity in them. I'm like, okay.
Have you ever been in a situation where you were on a date, or you were like talking to a girl, and you were hitting her with that real shit, and like you realized that she just couldn't handle that stuff?
That's happened mad times. I've X'd off so many people off of that.
Yeah.
So many block
that
numbers.
happens to me often.
Yeah.
On dates. Like, not that I'd be dating a lot, but like
when it happens.
There are times where, like, you know, if I'm on a date, or if I'm talking to, you know, just like rapping with a lady, and I'll be like, oh man, I'm about to be real honest about like how I look at things, and she's gonna very likely be like, I don't know what to do with this. And that's what happens like 9 out of 10 times.
But the thing is, the beauty of that, and I do that as well, is because you're not manipulating them. You're removing the interview face, and you're showing, this is the real me. If you can't deal with this, let's not waste each other's times 100%, any longer,
bro.
Because I'm not gonna sit here and play a game with you and pretend that I'm into everything you're into, and you're into everything I'm into, and then the honeymoon phase dies out, the hormones start to regulate, start to normalize, and then we realize, oh, we're actually incompatible. It's like, no, don't waste my time. I'm not wasting your time. Let's be real.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that a lot of like these like self-help type guy stuff, like, you know, all of these assholes that are like trying to help dudes out. It's like kind of the opposite. Like, they're trying to teach you these sort of like tricks of how to, like, logical tricks and like emotional and psychological tricks. This is how to pick up girls. Yeah, like
do
pick
this
up
if she does
shit.
this. It's like it's
a lot of incel culture stuff that objectifies people, and then changes human behavior into like this series of like,
it's a caricature.
Of
what
like
real human interaction is.
Yeah, it's not real human interaction. It's literally like, oh, you're using like these manipulative kind of psychological things, like, oh, you know, pretending you're into certain things, or the way that you stand in a certain way to make her feel a type of way, so that you can manipulate her into being a little more open or whatever.
But it's not, if it's not the person's innate. Here's the thing. I feel like studying psychology is great, but there has to be that honesty that we spoke about. It can't be them manipulating and doing what they wouldn't normally do. It's good to know, oh, wow, this thing that I've been doing does this and that. Oh, I'm understanding more about myself. That's cool. But you can't be using these. That's manipulation. If you're using these tactics to get out of people, it doesn't make sense.
It's like making a game out of people, and
that's sociopathic.
It is a little sociopathic, and you know, the mental health field is a little like that in a way too. Like they kind of look at like clients as units, and you need a certain amount to make this project happen, and then like the way that they describe emotion, and the way that they describe like the like mutual feelings and sharing with people, they have like these words for it as if it's not something that in real life. You know,
what's your take on the therapy industry, like the therapy industry right now? Like, what is your take on it as an active practitioner? How do you feel about it? Pros, cons.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I mean, they're both there. I think that the people in this field are, half of them are like very good intentioned, and another half of them are, it's a business, you know, it's just a business. And so they're thinking about the bottom line and how to make that better. So they make bad decisions based on the profitability of things. The mental health field is also very narrow because a lot of it is very new. So people are afraid, especially like in Western society, to like divert away from like Western medicine. So just like a couple of ideas that a bunch of middle-aged, coked out white dudes in the in the year 1910 or some shit came up with is like the majority of what we're rocking with now.
Really?
Yeah.
So
like,
it hasn't changed.
It's changed in increments. Like, for example, the DSM-5, which is a manual for diagnosing people, it was just made by a bunch of dudes, but everybody follows those things. So like if you got narcissism, borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, anxiety, depression, autism, like all of these things that you could be diagnosed with, they were decided by a bunch of dudes in a room who were like,
how accurate is it?
It's
the DSM-5.
It's helpful. It's as helpful as any tool is.
I got you. It can help indicate things, but it's not like the end all to be all, always on point.
Not at all. I think if you don't understand what's happening, like for example, if you're someone that's like, I don't know why none of my relationships ever pan out. Like they just all get destroyed within a year. And I'm really depressed and I feel really lonely and I can't sleep and all this stuff. And then you go to someone and then they're like, you might have NPD, you might have narcissistic personality disorder. And then you go to therapy and then the therapist like talks to you about your childhood and you realize that you were in a narcissistic family.
Then you get the context
and you develop these behaviors that like don't allow you to see reality for what it is, and you don't take responsibility for anything ever. Your ego is non-existent. Not in a good way, not in like you've become like an egoless spirit, but like that your sense of self is so shattered that like you can't take one word of criticism and you will never own up to any mistake that you've ever made. Narcissistic personality disorder. That can be extremely helpful because now you're like, all right, these are all the things that I do. This is a problem. I can call it something. A lot of people who have autism are like, thank God I got this diagnosis because it explains so much of my experience, and now you can go into groups where people identify with the diagnosis, and that helps a lot. But like anything, it can be abused and used too much. So people throw these diagnoses around,
giving people placebo diseases
and not even placebo medications, but that's how people will be like, oh, I need this medication. So then they need all of these different medications. And the insurance companies suck all that up. They want the diagnosis. They want, you're doing this type of therapy, pay this much. Oh, you want this type of medicine, pay this much. And there are the profits in the mental health industry are bananas.
How often are false diagnoses made in therapy?
I wouldn't know a percentage, but I would say
a lot.
All the time.
Shit.
All the time. Tons, bro. Tons. And
do therapists get paid for diagnosing people?
No, but
okay, good.
But in order to have your insurance pay for it, so in order for people to get help, they often have to be diagnosed, and they have to have like a code, like a billing code.
Okay.
When the billing code is basically what the therapist is doing with you to address what diagnosis. So
to prove the need of the medication, it's like, show me that you went the extra step,
right,
to be checked by a professional before we, as your insurance, pay for your expensive
they won't pay
medication.
for it without that. So they need the official diagnosis, they need the official shit, they need that paperwork so that then they'll pay for it, and then you have it. But if you don't have it, it's much harder to deal with, and then you have to skip insurance, and then you have to pay for services out of your own pocket.
That's gonna get expensive.
It's very expensive. So people like me who do sliding scale are all the only type of people that you
What's
can.
Sliding scale?
Sliding scale basically means you pay based on your income.
Oh,
so if you make a certain amount of money or less, you pay this much. You make more than that, you pay more. It scales out.
I got
you. If you're wealthy, you're gonna pay my full fee. But if you're poor, you're gonna pay something that you could manage. And then it's my responsibility as a practitioner to balance out my schedule and try to have some people who can't afford my full fee, and then a couple people that can afford my full fee, so that I can
maximize
live.
How many people you can help.
Exactly.
And not shoot yourself in the foot, because you still got to live. Yeah.
Exactly. That's 100% what it is.
That's fine.
So it's all about accessibility, and it's very difficult because it's a very profit-driven field, and you can make tons of money in the field, so people are doing that. They're doing that with the psychedelic space, charging out the ass for stuff.
Wow.
But they often need you to buy into the ideas that maybe are not necessarily ideas that you want to have. You know what I'm
But
saying?
I can see how that can be abused, because once you have somebody in this unknown environment of thought that they know nothing about, you are literally holding their hand through this process. So if you want to abuse that hand holding, you can.
Of course, it's
which
like
is messed up.
it can
but
be
I can
somebody
see.
infantilizing themselves eternally. You know, someone who's like, I need a parental figure, so they go from provider to doctor to hospital, and then they take on the identity of this sick person, and they think that that's who they are. So it's not that's what they're experiencing, or that they had trauma when they were younger and they're having like
They got a placebo
they have to
disease.
heal that trauma. They're just like, no, I am this person, and this person is my identity. And because identity politics right now, and of course, you know, I shitted on the right a little bit, and my response to the left is that you have to find a balance of being authentic and then also believing that you are the identity so much that you are that you have created a cage for yourself that you can't explore out of.
I feel like it's a cage that works two ways, because you can't explore out that cage, but it also prevents you from digging within.
Yes.
So it's like if we're an onion, it's like a cage in between layers of an onion.
Exactly.
It's like you can't go out and learn. But yeah, I see that. And I think that is a problem on the right. Because people ask me, oh, are you left-leaning, right-leaning? I think politics is trash in this country. I opt to say fuck both sides. Even when I was doing the documentary series with Noah, and we were doing Young Bull Trend America during the time of the Biden and Trump election, I realized that a lot of people are just purple. There's no red or blue. Very few people are far-leaning left and far-leaning right, but media will portray this idea that there are many of these people on both sides. This is not fucking true.
No, and it's even hard to like really conceptualize.
You want to move your mic up a little bit? I don't know
shit,
what.
did it fall?
Yeah, I was looking at it like,
it was probably just like slowly dropping throughout this time.
Yeah.
That polarization is something that we hold on to a lot too. I think it's easier to just talk about individual ideas, like how do you feel about sex? How do you feel about women's reproductive rights? How do you feel about immigrants? Just talk about that one subject and then hash out why you feel that way. Like, for example, my mom's husband.
You want to move that to your left a little bit?
Like that?
No, like the whole thing to the left, the whole mic. Yeah, from the bottom. Yeah.
It's not gonna fall over. Nah, it won't fall over.
It's good.
Should be all right. Is that okay?
I don't want to cut off your handsome face.
Oh, thank you, sir.
As you were saying.
My mom's husband.
Yes.
You know, he's a white guy. You know what I mean? He's conservative. And I love him. You know what I'm saying? So, like, how could I sit with him and be like, all right, man, like, you've made a couple of comments about trans folks. I don't think you know any. I know a bunch.
Yeah.
So what do you feel? Like, we don't have to talk about politics, but we could talk about the subject.
Facts. Whatever
subject, whatever item you want, we can talk about that. You know, even me and you, I'm sure that there's some things that we might disagree with. It's hard. I rarely disagree with you on anything, but I'm sure that there are some things, and we could always talk about that.
One thing I learned from when I was doing the series, I'm not a whatever supporter. I went to do journalism at a Trump rally.
Oh, you did?
Because we were documenting. We have to document left and the right. We have to be fair. So we had a bunch of like liberal protests, but we snuck into a Trump rally. And there was this girl, and she said something pretty damn insightful. She said, it's okay, because she's like, oh, because at first when we were speaking to her, she was like, oh, my problem is with like the left, blah, blah, blah. But when you don't let that scare you, you get to really understand what somebody thinks. So we're just sitting there like, okay, that's how you feel. That's cool. That's fine. That's how you feel. We started getting into deeper conversation, and she said something which was insightful. And that was, you never know what you believe until you have to keep an account for it. So I accept the fact that my friends are liberal. I have liberal friends. We'll argue, but we'll still be friends at the end of the day because we know what we believe in. We know that we've had an account for it, so we have more strength in what we believe in.
Right.
And I was like, facts.
Yeah.
The other shit you was talking about,
you didn't agree with it.
But it's okay. I don't gotta agree with it.
But you don't have to agree with it.
You don't have to agree. I feel like we're in a society where people are geared towards believing either everything somebody believes in or none. And it's like, yo, these are people with their own identities. There's gonna be shit that y'all don't agree upon. That's why I hate when people bash celebrities. I'm like, yo,
it's like, who cares?
Who cares?
Like who cares? Like,
if you don't like what they believe in, leave them alone.
Yeah, that's it.
If there's enough disbelief to belief ratio where it's in the favor of disbelief, don't fuck with them, but just leave them alone. This whole cancel culture and shit, leave them alone. Don't give people the spotlight. Leave them alone.
Yeah, just go. What you put your attention to, it reflects a lot about what your life is going to be like.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, where are you putting your energy towards? If you're putting your energy towards what you don't agree with other people, that's weird to me.
That's Karen energy.
You know what I mean?
It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Go focus on what you love. Don't use don't use your disbelief in others as a distraction from you doing internal work. And I feel like a lot of people do that.
Oh, for sure.
They'd rather fight the white knight on a horse battle of, oh, this is wrong, I am the morality police.
Right.
With no internal work done. It's like, what are we doing?
If you are really sensitive to what is wrong, that's fine. It gives you the opportunity, though, to do what's right.
Exactly.
So what is right then? You know, you can't eat a meal if all you do is talk about all the meals you don't want to cook.
Facts.
If all you did was identify all the shit you're not gonna cook, nobody's eating.
Facts.
So what are you gonna cook?
You don't like
Go
these things.
Cook it. And you know what? Cooking has no words to it. Just do it. Just go do it. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to talk about what other people are cooking. Just cook quietly in your kitchen, and then when you're done, we'll smell the food and we will eat the food, and that's it.
I think this is where we're gonna go in terms of like normalizing social media, because social media is relatively new, and it's resulted in a lot of people using this platform to make money without having proper substance. So I think we're hitting this tipping point where people are requiring substance, and it's deeper than social media. Like with entertainment, like music, for example, there's a lot of nonsensical messages in music, hip hop specifically, right? A lot of people don't have bars. They're just saying whatever. I killed self-implication. I killed whoever. I sold these drugs. I did this. I did that. And it's like, what are you actually feeding people? If people are going to look at you as an idol, what role are you setting? What example are you leading?
Yeah.
And it's like that with everything. These incel, oh, this is how you pick up girls. Guarantee they probably had sex with 5 ugly women in their life. And it's like, they're basing, and some people, it's like they've had horrible interactions with the other gender or their own gender, and that's basing their reality. That's the basis of their reality. And now when they spew these messages on a big platform, they're giving this deviated message to people who have no experience, and can have more optimal experiences than them, and painting this negative picture for people who don't need it. Like,
it's not going to help them, but it's like,
it's not.
It's negativity and the things that come out of negative emotions like fear, anger, sadness, those, you know, jealousy, all of those things, the things that satisfy the cravings you get from those feelings, they're very quick and easy to make and easy to notice, and they stand out. Like a group of people screaming and mad, that gets attention. Something that satisfies your ego really quickly, that gets attention, that makes money. You know what I mean? Those things are the easy answer, but it's like, you can't eat that forever. Like eventually, like you could start off in the morning eating crap, but eventually your body's gonna crave something real and substantial.
It's funny you say that example, because I was with Steve, Steve that we know. I was with Steve, and we were at Cisco studio in the city. It was crazy. This is the day that him and Karina showed me Jeff Buckley's music, and it was a riot that happened in the city that day. Like,
shit.
Standstill traffic, people jumping over cars. But before that happened, we're in the studio, and I was telling Cisco, this is years ago, that I believe, this is in the context of music, but I believe it's with art and society in general. We're in an era right now, a particular time, where people are having McDonald's art, McDonald's music, McDonald's substance, and eventually people will crave the vegetables, the nutrition, the meaningful content, the meaningful art, the meaningful ideals from political figures. And we're hitting that tipping point. We're hitting that saturation of the McDonald's art and McDonald's quality of overall society and how people interact with each other. And we're getting there, where people needing you to have substance. People getting sick of the bullshit.
They are. I mean, like, it just gets old.
Can you do me a favor? Could you pass that Type-C wire over there? I'm about to plug up my phone. Yes, it's definitely it's Type-C.
The USB-C?
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, that's not.
There should be one over there. Bless. You stole it.
I think. No, that is another. That was a fucking.
It's an iPhone.
I'm plugging everything.
Is that one?
It'll be the last. That's
It's always the last one.
Yeah.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah.
That 360 toss.
Yeah. Here we go.
Oh, the perfect packaging.
It'll unravel in the air. Okay?
That's fine. Thank you.
There we go.
Clean and unraveled so perfectly.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, we're hitting that saturation point.
We are, and I'm glad that we are.
Facts. I'm happy it's happening during our lifetime.
Me too, because I wanna be there for it. I wanna be there to, talk to people about it. I wanna be there to.
I want to help people through it.
Help
It's
people
gonna be
through
a
it.
transition.
Cheer them on. One of my clients today, he's a young guy. He's 18, and his like stress and anxiety has just sort of like opened him up to. And he said something cool the other day that resonates with this. And he was like, before I just felt like I was asleep. And now I feel like I'm awake. And
a lot of people have described
"Whoa."
this exact thing. I've been hearing this.
And I told him that too. I was like, bro, listen, what you just said is it.
Real.
The reason why you're experiencing the challenges, the reason why things feel uneasy, and why you sense that there's something greater for you. So you're kind of like groping around in the darkness, waiting maybe to find the path or meet someone that might know where that path is because you've awoken. And that makes me excited, man.
That makes me very excited. It's like, because I feel like me and you, we've kind of been on that kind of time, but it kind of goes with the merit that crazy ideas are crazy until they're not crazy anymore. And that's what's happening. People are like, oh, no, you're just wild. It's like, no, it's a thing. And now people are accepting, oh, this is an actual thing. People are sick of the nonsense. It goes to the human condition. The human psyche needs certain things. When we talk about, Maslow's hierarchy of needs and whatnot, yeah, we have those basic needs, but then we need that self-actualization at some point or another. We're gonna need something other than poison. You can only live off of poison for so long until you're like, all right, I actually need water now.
Yeah. I think that's where we're at now, and the polarization between people is part of this conflict that's going to reach a crescendo. And I don't necessarily think the crescendo is going to be like a violent one. I don't necessarily think. I think like there's going to be some violence. There already is. Like there's a war happening right now. Like
there's mad wars.
And people are getting killed all the time. People are getting shot. United States, like number one, and will always be number one in fucking mass shootings and stuff. So this violent urge is there. We're human beings. We're all made out of flesh and bones. So violence is just going to happen. But I think that there's going to be an awakening, a collective consciousness awakening.
Yes.
That drives the world to change in a big way along those lines for the next 100 or 200 years.
It's already happening.
It's starting now. You know what I mean?
We're at the beginning of humanity. Hopefully, the bonding of humanity, because now we've had globalization at a scale that the world has never seen before. We're understanding each other's cultures now more than ever before. Yeah, there's a lot of discourse and people on their own kind of shit, but this goes with what you're saying. You gotta break a few eggs to make a cake. You're gonna need some violence and whatnot as part of that transition. It's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
But it's about what's happening after that.
Right, yeah.
I think we'll come out stronger, assuming we don't have nuclear holocausts.
I don't think we will. I don't think we'll have a nuclear...
I don't think we will either, because it's like the playing field is so leveled where it's like, if shit goes down, we're all screwed. So it's just like...
It doesn't make sense.
Paper,
yeah.
scissor, rock. Like, there's nothing to do.
Yeah. And a lot of the people who are really stuck in the old way are really old now.
Facts. They're
and
gonna
it's like
die
they're gonna have to put it, like they can't do nothing with it. No, you're leaving, and you're leaving the earth to like Generation Z. Generation Z is a great generation for me to. I always like talk about them because they're the first generation that like was born into the internet. Like as children, they knew intuitively that you could reach anyone in the world and reach anything that you want.
Off rip, yeah.
As a baby, they're realizing that like you just fucking do a fucking jutsu on a screen, you know what I mean? Like you just be like this, do a jutsu, and you can get whatever you want. Like you can contact any other consciousness that you want, and you can find the creative output of any consciousness that you want. So that's like fifth dimensional shit.
Yeah.
And they're babies, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My son is on another level. His friends are on another level. And they're the ones that are going to be inheriting the earth. So I'm very hopeful.
Me too.
I'm very hopeful.
Me too. I feel like people are becoming more accepting.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
I'm like
Hell
at the
yeah.
cusp of millennial because I'm 28 now. I was born in 95. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm a millennial, but I'm close enough to Gen Z where it's like I have people, you know what I mean? Like I be chopping
You're
it up
OG
with
to
Gen Z.
you're OG to Z.
Yeah, like I remember dial up. I remember having to
I can't believe you remember dial up. I thought you'd be too young for that.
Nah. I mean, I have a lot of memories from like really young, you know what I mean?
You
I
had
rem-
to have been pretty young.
I had to have been pretty young because I remember like, yo, hang up. I'm downloading a fucking picture. And it's like, what? I remember minutes. It's like, yo, I gotta call you back at 9 p.m. All right, blah, 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 boom. I used up like less than 30 seconds, so it didn't count towards the minute.
Yeah.
But I do remember AIM, BBM, Facebook, all that real young.
That's
So
so
it's
funny,
like-
dude.
I feel like I'm at the cusp of going outside and playing with friends, but also being inside
Like-
and playing with friends on Xbox
Yeah.
and chopping it up and
Yeah.
having amazing moments and shit.
That's what a lot of boomers don't understand. Like they'll say
don't
some
get
shit
that.
like people don't even be going outside anymore and say they think that's all bad. And like, yes, there are negative consequences
some
to
physical
that.
exercise,
you gotta
but-
exercise, you gotta get some sun, I understand.
But you can do that.
But you can do that and still do this. Like, you know, my son spends a lot of time online, but
But I'm pretty sure he's healthy and he
he's
exercises.
healthy as shit. He
He's
works
good.
out, like he's ripped. You know what I mean? He knows what he's got to do.
Yeah.
But what they don't understand is that Generation Z and everyone who's plugged into the collective
internet now,
consciousness
yeah.
of the internet, they understand the importance of that, and it's intuitive, and it's about the development of like the human consciousness period. So
Facts.
like all of the same people, all of those same boomers that want to try to like give themselves a hard time understanding younger generations because they're so stuck in their own egos, because that's what it is. It's like their own identification with certain values.
They don't wanna
They're
accept
holding
it.
on to that. And it's like, listen, you are also the guys that said that capitalism should be infinitely expanding. You are also the guys that created these nuclear weapons.
And
You
they're
are also
the guys who are like, be strong, men don't cry.
men don't cry, misogyny, you polluted the earth.
Got milk.
Got milk campaign. You know, you guys created all of these monsters, and now you want to be mad at kids because they want to put their headphones in and hang out inside.
That sounds crazy.
That sounds crazy
That's
coming
the
from
stove
you.
calling the kettle black.
It's the fucking black hole calling the kettle black. You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? So
The demon saying you're bad.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what?
So it's like, first of all, you got a point, but I don't want to hear it from you.
Facts.
Go to sleep.
Go eat some tapioca.
Go eat some
Relax.
tapioca and turn
And
off
watch
Fox
your
News.
watch your
Yeah.
news. Eat some tapioca
and mind
shut
mind
up.
your business, right?
Facts.
Because I trust the next generation. I trust Z and
And
after
whatever,
Z.
yeah.
I think it goes back to A.
That's it?
I trust them. I don't know, maybe
One. I don't know.
some other shit.
Yeah.
But I trust them way more because they're so much more
Empathetic and
awakened,
intuitive.
empathetic, sensitive to what is actually going on. They're not going to make a system based on abusive hierarchy.
Yeah, they're not gonna fuck up the planet. And I'm not
No, they're
gonna-
not.
I honestly feel that my biggest fear of the internet are the older generations manipulating the source of knowledge that everybody's tapping into. That's my only fear, because misinformation is at a high right now. Because people are portraying their own fucked up messages onto what they think the younger people should know, do, and act like. You know.
Yes,
But
but
it's like-
there's one thing about that I believe, and it gives me comfort, and it's that misinformation, everything that we have to be afraid of, all the stuff that like misuse of power and information is not stronger than the truth.
Facts.
So,
It's
like-
not. It'll get called out eventually.
Yeah. So
will.
like you could have a mountain and then like build a bunch of shit around it, and then in 1,000 years you come back and like the ruins are barely recognizable and the mountain is still there. And like the truth, that's what the truth is like. So the truth will always outlast anything else. So all you have to do, any individual, all they need to do is to hold on to the truth and don't fall for the traps that the deception and like the egoic mind and the controlling negativity, all of that shit is trying to pull you into its dimension. Like
That's how I
it's
feel
like
about music.
yeah.
That's how I feel. What you said is very real. It's like the truth will outlast the distraction.
Yeah. Have you seen how hip hop is lately? Like I've been on YouTube and in my recommended, there's like
Bare cookie cutter shit.
mad like there's like new hip hop and old hip hop type shit. Like I've noticed that like the craving for hip hop is starting to become more like they want more healthy shit now.
Mm-hmm.
And all of
People
those like
are tired of
trap
the
rappers that were
caricatures.
like saying like just getting tattoos all over their faces and
just
doing
saying whatever
drugs and
is-
saying the most ridiculous shit that makes no sense. Not only is it a lie, but like it's just total bullshit.
Yeah.
Is like
Junk food is out.
it's like not cool anymore. Like it's
I've been
tiresome.
waiting for this moment. I've been making real shit the entire time, so I've been waiting on this.
I know,
I'm excited
I know.
because it's like
Your shit, like you played me fucking like 4 tracks the other day, in the car, and they were all amazing, and they were all the
Very different.
writing in them was just like good stuff. Like it's good stuff, not bad stuff. It's good.
Yeah.
It's things that you would want to hear, that you would want to be encouraged by.
But it's what we're talking about, outlasting. I want to make the mountain. I don't make the fucking shrine on the mountain. The shrine on the mountain's gonna go. It's a nice decoration, but it's the mountain. And it's like the same thing with music. Like the reason Bob Marley is gonna be bumped for hundreds
Forever.
of years
Mm-hmm.
and thousands potentially is because it came from a real place.
Mm-hmm.
It was about the human condition. It was something that resonates with people. People don't resonate. Yeah, spin the block. Woo, woo, woo. People not resonating with that bullshit.
Especially because like now you could see online, like you see the repercussions of the of certain truths,
Hell yeah.
not truths, but certain ideas. Like
Yeah.
some new shit pops up and everyone's like, oh yeah, it's so great. And then some people have their doubts about it. But in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, you see where it leads you.
So a lot of shit
And you're like,
phases
oh,
out.
this shit just led me to a dead end. There was nothing here. All the people who are into this are in jail now.
Yeah.
All the people who are following this thing, and that's not just like hip hop and stuff, but anything, any cultural shit.
Yeah.
Like look at Trump. Like look at all the people that were just dying hard about fucking QAnon and Trump.
It's not
Half of them went to
sustainable.
prison. You know, they ended up cutting themselves off from their families and like living in a bunker waiting for like JFK to be the vice president of Trump. Like weird conspiracy theories. Like when you get led down the wrong alleyway by bad ideas, you don't need anybody to convince you out of that. You will learn eventually when you hit the hard ass dead end and you see where your life is at. You will learn for yourself, by yourself, the truth.
Facts.
And you're gonna have to turn your ass around, walk all the way the fuck back, and recalibrate your echolocation or whatever.
Time reveals everything.
Everything.
Let me ask you this. If the Earth's surface was done, what would you do? Would you go underground? Would you go to another planet? If we were fucking up the Earth, let's say, for example, we were talking about the baby boomers and how they messed up the planet, right? We've already accepted in society that irreversible changes have been made to the planet. It is what the hell it is. You know what I mean? Let's say if we're getting it together, but we're a little bit too late, and the Earth's surface starts to become less hospitable. What would you want to do?
I would err on the side of not leaving the Earth. Like I would stay
Maybe
with the
like
Earth.
underground, come up.
I would.
do
I would.
what you do, but then maybe
Yeah. I would just be like, can we go under? Like human beings are smart as shit. Like we can
figure it
figure
out.
something out here. It might be weird, and we might all fucking
It'll
get
be
all
weird for a
albinoed
little
out.
bit, you know?
Like you know what I'm saying? We might be like subterranean mole men for a little while. That's fine.
Everybody's gonna get light skin.
Everybody's gonna get light skin. We're all gonna have melanin
Deficiency.
deficiency, vitamin D deficiency. But I think that sticking with Mother Earth is cool.
best bet.
Yeah, like I like Mother Earth. I think Mother Earth's
Mother Earth has treated us
evolution.
very well. We've done her dirty, but this bitch
she-
has treated us very well.
Well, because she's strong. Like
Yeah, she's
we
durable.
don't. If we're not here, she's still gonna be here.
Yeah, Mama's always gonna be there. It's a matter of if we end up shooting ourselves and doing dumb shit and coming back or not. But she'll be here.
But according to a lot of like mystical, metaphysical, spiritual practices, the Earth is a conscious being evolving with us, and all of our evolution is happening together, including the Earth.
I mean, so we can look at it on a macro and micro. So there are organisms that live on our skin, live within our gut microbiome. Like our gut microbiome is an example. Like there are many things that exist on us and communities that depend on us living to live. So in a sense, we're like that with Earth.
Yeah. And as we change, they change.
Yeah, if
and as
Earth
they
dies,
change,
we're
we
fucked.
change.
It doesn't matter what we do. But it's like that. If we drink liquor, for example, you'll kill some of the bacteria in your gut microbiome. The microbiome will exist. Some things got wiped off, though. It's kind of like that, too, with humanity. Like, some humans might get wiped off because of human disaster. Earth is chilling. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's solid. It's solid. It's gonna be around for a very long time, and it's gonna be hospitable to life for a very long time. All different types of life, whether it's us or not. We'll see.
I'd go underground too. I think that would be a better alternative. That way we can at least reap the benefits of everything we know of the Earth. Even if we lose some of it, and it's like, oh my God, you don't know what you have till it's gone. Take everything we can from the Earth because we're born here. It's what we're meant to be.
It'll heal very quickly because did you hear about how many things changed when we were quarantined for that time? How much the changes in the Earth?
A lot of cars and shit done.
Yeah.
People not spending as much on bullshit and things that body the planet.
The Earth started to heal within a year of us quarantining.
I'm not surprised.
So imagine 100 years of just like pure healing. It would be tremendous.
When do you think the baby boomers are going to be, like the baby boomers in power are going to be dead? When do you think? Next 20 years?
Yeah, and then it'll be just kind of like these confused Generation Xers, which is my generation. I'm like on the cusp of Millennial, Generation X. So like, I think X pretty much stops at 80, and I'm like,
it stops at 1980.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And then after that is Millennial.
From 80 is so Millennial is
Millennial
up to
starts
when?
at 80.
When is
I don't know
Millennial
why.
done?
Millennial is done like 2000-ish or something, maybe.
Holy shit! I'm dead ass almost a Gen Z. What the fuck? Wait, let's ask ChatGPT. That's crazy. Also, we should do the AI stories.
Oh yeah. Let's do it.
But here, what the fuck? When does Millennial start and end? Same for Gen Z. Curious. Oh, it could vary slightly. Millennials, Gen Y, 1980s to early 2000s. A common range is 1981 to 1996. Generation Z or Zoomers. I hate that. Gen Z sounds cool.
Zoomers is funny.
Zoomers.
Zoom.
They're generally considered to be born between the mid 1990s to early 2000s. Oh. And the early to mid 2010s. So it says 97 to 2012.
Okay.
I'm actually on the cusp. That's fucking wild.
Right.
You are also.
I'm on the cusp of Millennial and Generation X.
That's dope as hell.
Yeah, so
we are young.
Yeah, I think the Generation X, which is the people who are still working and still gonna be in power for a little while, a lot of them are cool because they learned that the American dream is kind of not real. Yeah. So they're realistic, and then a lot of Generation Z was born of Generation X, and like it's just like a more involved parenting style, a little bit more like
X has more context to relate to the future of where humanity's going.
Yeah, Generation X is a good generation, man. That's why there was so much amazing music at that time. There was so much real shit going on, lots of protests,
Let's break this down, because Gen X, when we break this shit down for real,
like all those hippies,
Gen X and Y made a lot of wild fucking lit, because it's like, I think with Gen X, it's like understanding and accepting the human condition. Yeah, I think that's where baby boomers had it lost. It was more about
baby boomers are all
tough the shit out,
100%.
You feel away, but tough it out.
And the thing is, the reason why is because before baby boomers, there was the silent generation. There's the World War generation. So
yeah, they were like, just do your role.
Traumatized, right?
Facts.
The whole world was traumatized. And then there was economic booms after the war, because of war brings like economy, right? There's a lot of capitalism, there's a lot of colonialism, and there's a lot of money. And so the traumatized generations are just like, go make money, get the house, get the wife, and they sold them a lie, a dream that is like I guess like the idealism and the self-indulgence that came after the war from traumatized people, and then that generation, these boomers, set up such unsustainable bullshit that now that they're too old to manage it,
it's gonna get taken down.
It's like half of it is just falling apart.
Like fiat, like the whole, what was that happening? Like the 70s or the 80s when U.S. went off the gold standard. It was around the 70s or 80s. So it's like this generation that knows money backed by a particular, like by gold. Gold is like gold. So these people who are traumatized, having these kids, selling them this dream. Yeah, you could have died in the war, but this thing that you think is calm is actually ideal, i.e. the American dream. Now that's crumbled. So now I feel like Gen X is definitely in a place where it's like, okay, we understand the ways of the old world, but we see y'all see what the new world is. So it's like, okay, how can we bridge the two to make it sustainably work? Because I think Zoomers and Millennials are too new to bridge the gap. Gen X is that link to be able to bridge the two, because there's still lots of old people in the world. And Gen X will be able to say, okay, I got what you old motherfuckers want. I got what you have. But we do need to move things along.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. With Gen X, it's definitely going to be a lot of things.
That's why.
No pressure.
No pressure. See, that's why. And here's where the conservative and the, like Democrat, lefty stuff, like the liberal shit, gets confused. Like this whole thing that right wing and conservative people say about wokeness, what they don't understand is that wokeness is for the most part just like capitalism trying to capitalize on
minorities.
the way the vibes that they're sort of getting from Generation Z.
Yeah, it feels like when an old auntie's like, that's mad crazy. It's like, shut up, auntie. You don't use that language.
That's exactly what it is.
You want to relate to me, but you're actually insulting me and you're using the shit wrong.
Right. So the conservatives are looking at, the conservative auntie is looking at the auntie who's trying to be cool and is like, you're trying to brainwash. It's like, they're not the ones creating the woke movement. They're responding to what people actually want. Like people actually want there to be more black people in everything. Sorry. Like, so if you have a problem with that, if there was no liberals, if there was no left democracy, like Democrats, if there was no woke whatever, there would still be people who are demanding that they want to see black people, they want to see Asian people, they want to see women looking different.
Non-white people do shit.
They want to see non-white people
men doing
do
shit.
Stuff, everything. Do everything. Like, hey, hero, hey, building stuff, hey, inventing stuff, hey, making a program, hey, teaching, everything.
People want it.
They want it. So,
but it has labeled as the woke movement.
But they want to pretend that it's that like people wouldn't want that if you weren't talking about it. Yeah. But that is another lie. Yeah. That's just another lie. So if you think they're lying, now you lying again. Yeah. To try to cover up what you say is a lie as well.
It's like a reverse manipulation.
It is. And the truth is going to come out. Like, do whatever you think you need to do. Say whatever you think you need to say. But the truth is going to still be there no matter what you do.
That's a fact. The mountain is going to reveal itself.
It's going to it's slowly on the horizon. You know what I mean? No matter what. So that makes me feel very comforted, because that means I don't got to do nothing. All I got to do is be authentic, be myself, and I know whatever the truth is going to be there when I turn around. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this, because I feel like as life goes on with Gen X and whatnot, I feel like Gen X is the beginning of accepting like transhumanism and technology more than baby boomers. You know what I mean? What's the limit of tech that you would allow in and on your body? Assuming it's safe, tested. I'm not talking about no experimental like beta version shit. Like tested, clinical trial, approved, boom.
Right. I don't think that I would do it. I don't have any feelings against other people doing it.
But what's the limit? Like, for example, let's say if God forbid, if God forbid you had a heart issue and you had a pacemaker, that's technology in your body.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, so what's like the limit of tech in and on your body?
It would be to alleviate my suffering and to make my ability to do the things that I love to do like doable, like to make it doable.
To be able to hit like normal functionality.
Yeah,
that's
to
like
my authentic, to keep my authentic self. Like for example, Alzheimer's. If there was something that could help me, and if I was like getting Alzheimer's, or if I was like prone to it, and I could do something protective, like I would probably do that.
Or at least like, yeah, it's something to
right to continue my quality of life, and for me to be able to function without the help of other people, and to be my authentic self, I would allow that. But if I needed to augment myself, I look at it in the same way. I think psychedelics is almost like natural technology. You know, it's like the Earth's technology.
It boosts the hell. It's like troubleshooting your brain, but from nature.
Exactly.
You troubleshoot. You end up upgrading sometimes.
Yeah. With psychedelics, it could be permanent. It could be temporary.
Facts.
And it's the same thing with technology. I think that if the intentions are authentic and pure, and like it's not deceptive, that's the best thing that you could ask for. But if capitalism is still involved with it, there's always going to be
It's not gonna be worth it.
There's always going to be darkness in it, because capitalism itself, it has to run on the idea of some people having, some people not having, and also like the idea of this like, it's not enough, I need more. And so there's like greed, there's
Capitalism
ego.
puts dollars over people. So if it's rooted
100%.
from something that's going to put money over life, it's like, I'm not putting this in my body because you don't care about me.
But if everyone was taken care of, and it was like, you know, some sort of like socialistic capitalism where like everyone's welcome to have businesses and be successful, and you can pay, like if someone's doing some dope art, you can pay them money, you can fucking buy their products and stuff.
You can afford to do it.
You can afford to do anything you want, and then but everyone's taken care of, and then like some inventors like, hey everybody, I invented this thing, a chip that you can like put into this slot into your head, and it connects to your language cortex or whatever, like your language center, and it allows you to speak any language. Any language. Like you can go to Japan and just listen to Japanese, and you don't even have to speak the language. You just hear someone speak Japanese, you understand what they're saying, you speak English, and they understand what you're saying. And it's free. I might be like, maybe, yeah.
I feel you on that. Like I think the limit, so in terms of in the current status, is like, because right now we're in a hyper-capitalist society. So I agree with you. In the sense of now, only shit to help my baseline of functionality to be able to live my normal life. But in a society, hypothetically speaking, if we're in a socialist capitalist society, a more socialist society, and people are open sourcing these technologies like that, because that's essentially what it is. It would be like open source kind of thing. I would probably fuck with it too, as long as there's not that negative connotation of, oh, hey, come buy this. Like, don't sell shit to me.
As soon as there's a pressure from the outside to make it be something other, and usually that pressure is like economy, like you have to make money off of this, or we're not doing it. Then you got to start convincing people that they need it, and then you have to manufacture need and that type of shit, because like the only ways they're going to work is if you don't need it. Like if you don't need it and this is what you want to do, but the moment you have to convince someone that they need this,
you sell it to people, it's an issue. You shouldn't have to sell this.
No, don't sell it. Just do it. And if whoever gravitate towards it, it's meant for them. There's this interesting, like I love looking up like stuff about aliens and like all, like, you know, interdimensional beings. Like I'm obsessed with all that stuff.
You think aliens exist on Earth?
I do. Well, I've seen some crazy shit, so I'm like, what is that?
What
like,
have you seen?
Just crafts.
You've seen some shit.
I've just seen some.
I've seen some wild ass lights and shit in the sky.
I've seen some weird objects, man, that have just stopped, froze
and just
in the air,
moved the type of way,
moved in weird ways, and then moved. And then like my great grandfather in Puerto Rico, who was like, he died when he was almost 100. So he was talking about like, yeah, this guy's like a straight up chief, you know, like straight up living like indigenous Arawak, fucking Puerto Rico, Taino, you know what I mean, in the mountains where my family's from. He like never left the campo. He never left the wilderness of where my family was at, you know what I mean? So this guy would talk about in the 20s or 30s, like he would be like, when I was young, I used to go to this lake that's in the mountains in Yauco over there in the southwest of Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And he would just be like, yeah, this like disc, you know, this plate ship would come out of the water like this of the lake and then go fly into space. And then it would come back and sink into the lake. And he didn't even know that was a UFO. He didn't know anything about aliens. He didn't know anything about UFO. He just said a plate-shaped ship come out of the water, just float out, and then zoom into space, and then come back, and he would just see them coming and going from a lake. It would submerge. So
aliens of this fucking planet.
Yeah. So he didn't hear about that. He just witnessed it. He's telling us what he's witnessed. You know.
And y'all like, you sure it was a plate?
Well,
you're like, yeah.
He was like,
yeah.
well, like una plata, and we're like, oh, and then like later on, me and my aunt who hear him talk about that, and we're like, he's talking about a UFO, right? And we're like, yeah, he saw a UFO. Yeah. But if I told him you saw a UFO, he'd be like, what is that? About? He wouldn't know what we were talking about. So UFO, that's how I know it's real. You know what I mean? And same thing with people who have like near-death experiences, like about like leaving their body and stuff. So there's so much that has been experienced by me and other people that like I know there's something else going on. But there was one person who said, not one person, a bunch of people who said something interesting about aliens.
Yes.
That it makes me think. It created a thought exercise for me about technology.
What was that?
That one of the species of aliens that's actually just already here and learns how. It's not like coming from far. It's coming from near, and they've been here for a long time. Is studying us because they are an alternate far future timeline where they have a fully integrated transhumanism. But they've lost the connection to the spiritual realm.
We are part of their past. They're
trying to find the moment where they went wrong. So I can see that. That's like, whether I believe that or not, I don't even know. I don't think I need to believe it or not.
But it's a good proposed idea.
It proposed an idea to me that like there is a version of those events that is like, oh well, we shouldn't have did that. Like, just like anything else, you know what I mean? Like anything
parallel
else.
universes, it's like
for sure.
There's always a shitty alternative.
Yeah, like you could fucking go to the gym and be like, man, I'm starting to feel better, and then like some 62-year-old version of you comes from the past in like ship, and he's like swollen, he's got mad muscles, he looks gross, and he's sick, and he's like, I just want to see how I got here, and then like he's visiting you on your third trip to the gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like,
maybe I shouldn't have went OD'd like that. You know, maybe there was some balance that I could have struck, you know, the middle path. Like people think that being a good person means, or being good or doing something good means like a very extreme answer to like what you think is bad. I think it's actually, there's something in the middle that's like less committal to either side and more observant of reality.
There's two things that I want to touch on about that. One, well, they're both kind of in relation to what we spoke about before. One was when we were talking about like having like a stick and keeping it like, like absolutely like aligned and on point. I think that lining is sustainability because it can stand the test of time. It can stay there
100%
for time.
Yeah. The only things that can stay balanced like that, when you see something is not sustainable, you really have to think about that.
Yeah.
You know, like in a relationship, like we were talking about that, like you meet somebody and then immediately, if you have to start rearranging these things in order to make it work, it's not sustainable.
Exactly. The other thing though is like with younger drives through, because we spoke about that last time, the whole idea of there being some kind of cataclysmic event that happened like 10 or so thousand years ago, right? So when we talk about this new type of this not new, this older life that's potentially studying us, right? Imagine if we didn't have this thing that happened 10,000 years ago, and there's just 20,000, 30,000 years of human development, uninterrupted.
It might look totally different.
We would probably be in a whole different type of.
It'd probably be like more like Avatar. You know the movie Avatar?
We'd probably like Avatar.
Probably like just fucking, you know, you like wave your hand over a jellyfish, like, then the jellyfish goes to like you know what I mean, like the aquatic creatures, and then they do something, and then they come back and they bring the message back, and you have like these shells here. You know what I mean?
Bonded with nature.
Yeah. But like, oh, there's this medicine where you wrap yourself in leaves, and then the tree downloads your sickness, and then it gives you this sap, and you take the sap, and it's the answer to the dance. You know what I mean?
And then you take like all the leaves and you burn the leaves and shit like that. It holds your virus and shit.
Yeah. Like we understood like, oh, when you're born, you save your umbilical cord and you plant it, and then whatever fucking by the time you're 20, a plant grows, and then you go to that, and that's your birth plant, and then whatever fruit grows, you eat that fruit when you're 20, and then you have some psychedelic experience. some shit like that. It would be some Atlantean shit. You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna lie. If I could extend my life to just study nature, like on that type of tip. Obviously, we can't undo the past. You know what I mean? We're already here. We're adults and shit. But I want to learn some witch doctor shit. I want to learn some deep.
If you live that, remember that question you asked before about living long?
Yeah.
You would have to be.
I dip.
Someone you have to dip. You'd have to live
like
in the
50, 60,
and just
70
like
years. I just dip.
Yeah, and just live in the in like just be a shaman in like the forest and learn everything from nature.
That's what I would do.
And then if anything, people will come to you and be like, "Yo, there's this guy that lives in this forest."
Yeah, he's from New York.
He's actually from New York.
He dipped.
He looks young as hell, but he's not young.
He's an old.
He's
ass
138
man.
years old. He looks like he's 28 though.
Yeah.
And then you go over there, and then you just be like, "Oh, come here," and then you be like,
My
before they
locks down to my feet.
yeah,
and shit.
yeah,
I'm just like,
yeah. You're just kind of yeah. You're just like in a room where your locks are just like
it's the
draped.
whole room.
It's the room because you
I'm
don't
just
even
like,
move that much.
oh.
Yeah. And you just have like animal assistants and shit. Like a little raccoon comes and brings you your drink or whatever.
No cap. That's some anime living. I would actually be down to
You
do
would
that.
do that. I know. And
50,
then like,
60 years, I'm down.
and then somebody comes to seek you out for certain things, and before they even speak, you're like, "Oh, you're troubled. I know what you need. Like you know exactly what they
You
need.
have anxiety.
I could feel it.
Yeah.
I felt you walk into the woods.
I felt you from
I felt
10,
your presence,
10 meters
your
away.
energy. Yeah,
I knew you were here. It's
You're
like,
carrying energy, and then they'll be like, "What?" That's the type of shit that would be interesting to develop. Like, what if you could live to 130 years old and you were like still able to walk around and talk and you were super healthy? What your level of like intuition would be like?
it would be different because
You'd be able to read
seen
people's
the cycles
minds.
of humanity so many times. And the thing is, what we spoke about last time, we're all connected.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have insight to certain things and thought processes. And I've met somebody like this person 3 times already. We're all connected.
Yeah,
I've met you already.
You'd be
I've
like,
met you many
actually, I
times.
know who you were when you were in a life before this life.
Yeah.
Like I know you. Be like, really?
Yeah. Like I already got
Tell
a
somebody
vibe
about
from
their
this
past
person.
incarnations and shit. I actually hooked up with your past reincarnation, like
You
your
see a
past
girl who's
incarnation.
Like, yo, is your grandmother blah blah blah? It's like no, but like, and you're looking at pictures and it's like, yo,
Be like, I smashed your grandma,
I actually smashed your grandma. Damn.
and I love her, so I'm not. I don't know if I'm your granddad or not.
But
Probably not. But
yeah,
if you need wisdom, I got it for you.
now I'd be down to
Plant
just
medicine.
I'm not gonna lie, if I could extend my life like long, if people could do that, I think a lot of issues in humanity would be kind of settled. Because I feel like people have an anxiety because by the time you're 50, it's like considered half your life is over.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you're 50.
yeah.
50 is not that
Yeah.
fucking old.
No, it's not at
50 is
all.
young as shit. So if people could jump that up and it's like, okay, you're 50. This is like you're being 25 now. You got 200.
It would be cool, but I think at the end of the day, people would still fear death.
They're saying people would fear death.
No, yeah, and I'm actually excited to die. I am.
To see what the fuck is next.
Just because, and it's not even just curiosity. Like I kind of already feel like I get what's probably happening next. I think I understand what is going on.
What do you
know
think
I mean?
happens after somebody dies?
I think that their consciousness is drawn back to where
The source.
not even the source,
Yeah.
just like the local source.
Yes.
And that local source is your higher self. You might be the source of consciousness for a bunch of lives on Earth.
You may be just a part of this other consciousness.
You
but
might be
go to
part of
your
something
local-
bigger. Yeah, it's called communion. When you release yourself into the greater, like for example, when you're dreaming and you think the dream is real and you're just having a dream, and in the dream you're like, this is what's happening, and you're dealing with it and it's normal, and you're
Yes.
like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. You're talking and then you go to this place and whatever, you're living that life.
Yeah.
Then you wake up, you're still the person that was in the dream, but the person that was in the dream no longer exists, but you're still the person that was in the dream. So that the person in the dream experiences communion with you.
Yeah.
Like it dissolves into you, and then
Yes.
you absorb all of the experience, and you know that was me. But now that you're awake, you're like, also this is me.
Yeah.
So you are aware of yourself, and you're aware of the self that existed in every dream that you've ever had that you can
Yes.
remember.
Yeah.
Or your child self, like when
And they're
you,
all you.
they're all you.
What do we disperse into?
The same thing.
What does that look
The
like?
next
to you?
one, the one that what it looks like to me, I don't know what it's hard to describe, but I see it as
Not what does it look like? How does it exist to you?
it exists to me in pure consciousness that is not subject to time or space. One, so it can move through time. Time doesn't have meaning. You can like experience a life in a moment. You can go backwards. You can just go into moments. It doesn't have to go. It doesn't need to differentiate between here and there.
Yeah.
Everything is just here,
Yeah.
and you move through different states of here. I
Almost
think
like a personal singularity.
yes.
It's like do whatever, but it's
All here. You know how like you go into an elevator and then you can go up to the third floor, the doors open, and this is the third floor, and there's like mannequins and there's fashion or whatever, and then the doors close. You didn't move. You hear something, and then the doors open again on the 13th floor, and this is like maybe like a graffiti exhibit.
Like
It's
that, but instantaneous.
yeah, but instantaneous.
You
So
know,
that's what that's like.
Personally, I think that's a part of thing that happens because when I took DMT, that's how it felt.
That's how it feels.
But DMT, like that chemical gets released in our brain in high doses when we are born and when we die.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I felt like I went through a bunch of lives that I had on DMT. Like the last time I took it, I was straight up like I told you about it. Like it felt like I was exhibiting different parts of who I am.
Yeah,
different,
yeah.
Like, fuck time, fuck space, just different me's with very different forms. And I was just like, whoa, is this what I am?
Yeah. So that, and that's not just something that I made up. Like that's something that I keep touching when I have like mystical experiences. When I've had out of body experiences. I've had like deep psychedelic experiences. I've had weird transcendent experiences. I've like heard voices. Like I've had many things happen to me where I'm like receiving clues that tell me about a certain truth, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna digest all of that. But if you look back at Vedic religions, Buddhism, thousands and thousands of years further and further into the past, you can see that the people who are awakened to certain ideas say the same thing, and they may say it in a little different way because of the language or their culture,
but it stems from the same idea.
It's the same idea that your consciousness, that your body is just a receiver of your consciousness in the same way that a radio is the receiver of a radio signal.
Yeah.
So like a radio is not bussing classical music on 91.1 or whatever station it is, and then when you smash the radio gets old, the batteries wore out, whatever.
The signal's still there.
The signal is still there. The signal is just reaching the radio, but once the receiver is gone, it's not receiving the signal, but the signal is out there somewhere. And I believe that's what it is.
Do you believe in reincarnation? In that sense?
Yeah.
Where it's like the part of you that is you now, the atom that is 2023 atom or whenever it is we meet our demise, that disperses back into the local source atom. Then you come back, like whatever.
I think that it's.
Do you think it's instantaneous?
I think it is instantaneous because the only time that anything is not instantaneous is our perception in this life.
I agree.
Everything else is otherwise.
Because time doesn't exist. A billion years can went by. It's like it's instantaneous.
Outside of this, I think everything exists in one single moment at all times. And it's because our inability to comprehend timelessness.
We're bound by this idea.
We're bound by this dimension. Yes.
Our consciousness knows no time. We can enter into a DMT trip and be in that bitch for 5 hours, but it's only 15 minutes. You can go to sleep and feel like you're in there for 5 years. And I've had dreams where I had full lives of shit, and I'm like, what the hell?
Like, how is that? Yeah.
What just happened? I was sleeping for 8 hours, and it felt like 15 years.
Yeah. So it's completely relative, and we're totally limited to it. It's a limiting factor. It's not a freeing factor. So outside, and even science will tell you there is states of being outside of space and time. It's just part of science now.
It's part of the physics of our universe.
Yeah.
The factor that there is time, there's space and time.
It's just a way to measure. And so when it comes to consciousness, I believe that we do exist outside of that. So reincarnation, from what I understand, and this is of course like my conjecture is all I know, so this is my knowledge, and anyone could do whatever they want with that. But your consciousness is drawn back into the collective where there could be an infinite number of things. And then the embodiment of the next life, you still have a connection to your higher self. So through your higher self, you may still feel the remnants of another life that you led, you being part of the higher consciousness. So if I was playing, let's say I was like playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, you know what I mean? And I'm Adam and I'm playing as Cloud.
Good ass
So I'm
game,
Cloud. So it's like Cloud is not aware of me, but I am aware of Cloud. And in this moment, I am Cloud. So whatever Cloud is experiencing, I'm experiencing. This is me right now. And this is my life right now. Now, Cloud will be afraid. Cloud will lose some people. And you see and you can feel through Cloud those feelings and you experience it like a life. Cloud is having a tougher time of it, but you understanding that this is just the experience, you can be like, oh, well, this is the experience that I've chosen to have.
Yeah.
So then the game is over, and then let's say I want to play Sekiro or something. A part of me...
Sekiro shit is crazy.
I love fucking... That's one of my favorite games of all time.
That's fucking Dark Souls, but Japanese.
And then, like...
But better.
The control that you have, the movement, like you can get dialed
fancy.
in.
You can get fancy.
Yo, you can style, bro.
You can choose how you want to body people, how you want to maneuver,
and how fly you want to look when you do it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a whole other thing. But so my consciousness is now Wolf. So now I'm playing Wolf, and because this is a video game character, I'm not going to assume that there's any conscious awareness of that Wolf has of himself.
But for the sake of this example,
but if he did, for the sake of this example, if Wolf is like, man, I'm in, Ashina, all this stuff is happening, but I have to, this is my purpose. And then one day he's sleeping, and then like he hears me say like, this is just amazing, like, and none of this is as important as you think it is. Like, calm down, like you don't have to be too stressed.
That's like God peeking in, like we spoke about last time.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
That God. Ooh,
yeah,
experiencing itself. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay, that's what's up. Oh shit, like motherfucker just learned fucking floating passage. Oh, yeah. Fire. So then if he heard that.
Yeah.
And then he had a moment even deeper introspection where like he had memories of like, he's like, wait a minute, I had a big ass sword. I had a dream I was wielding this big ass sword and this beautiful, like, kind woman I knew died. And then he's having memories of Final Fantasy because I have memories of it. Because I am Cloud, and I am Wolf, and I am me. So that's what Reincarnation is. That's what all of the... It's literally a video game. Like, we are playing a video game right now, and we're collabing right now. It could very well be that there is... And not that there could very well be. There is. Like, eventually we all reach one point where we're all together, but... there may be a sooner point where we're all together. Like, there may be an oversoul. There may be a consciousness that is like... all of the people me and you love, and we don't know why we love them so much. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know
it's
why.
Like something that stems from that particular sister, like localized consciousness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like there might be an entity outside of time and space, a consciousness that's living 30 lives at once across 10 realities, right?
Yes.
And maybe me and you are of the same one.
Facts.
And that's why when we talk, we're just like...
It's like shit fires and it's like boom, boom, boom. Because it's like
instant recognition.
Same fucking source code.
Yep. And it's like, how lucky, and then somewhere that version of us is like, I love this game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I think that consciousness is something like that. And I never thought about the localized thing before. That's something very new to my thinking of that. But I do believe that reincarnation happens kind of like that because time and space is all relative, and we are just vessels in taking a signal. We're just taking in a signal.
They're just taking a signal,
and that's the same reason I feel that we have this one creative source. The same reason I was saying last episode how people will have similar ideas, and how for me, for example, I'll be musically ignorant and be like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but somebody 50 years ago did it, and they'll tell me, yo, that sounds like blah blah blah. You know them? No, I don't know who the hell that is, but we're from the same source, so hell yeah, it's gonna be like
receiving it,
the same vein, You're
receiving that information.
Humanity is different. We should make that a kind of theme in the AI. Let's make an AI story, but let's put that theme of reincarnation in it.
You want to do let's do a story.
Let's get jiggy with this.
Let's do a story where, something about reincarnation, right? One character. Let's see. One character gets to meet its own reincarnation.
In what context? Or maybe they meet their source code in a sense.
They meet their source code. A character. Yeah. So
let's make them British.
Yeah.
Let's put on some accents.
Okay.
A British character meets his own source.
Can you do British accent? I can't.
You have a little bit of British accent, yeah?
That's
not that bad.
Okay, so you
It's
could
a
be
little bit something. Yeah. What should have found animals would you like to face extinction in the future?
That's better. So you do the British guy.
Meets his own. You make the other one American. Because it's like
Yeah, it's fine. I'll do. Yeah, it'll be, but I'll make it like spacey. You know what I mean? Like it's gotta be. It's source code. I'll be the source code, and you'll be the man who's meeting its higher self that exists in the fifth dimension, that knows everything about its life and knows everything about its future and past and has lived infinite versions of that life.
So I put, make a story about reincarnation. A British character meets his own source of reincarnation, his higher self that exists outside of time and space in the fifth dimension.
Yeah. And it's got to be in a script form.
Oh, yeah.
In a play form.
In script format.
Or dialogue. Or
with dialogue.
Play or script dialogue format.
Oh, let's let this shit cook up. This is about to get crazy. Timeless Encounters is the name. Scene 1, a cozy living room in a British cottage. Oh, shit.
So now you got to send that to me.
Oh, yes. Yo, this shit is going in. The ultimate purpose is for your soul to learn, grow, and evolve. Each life provides unique opportunities and challenges, allowing you to develop wisdom, compassion. This shit is going to be sick. Hey, while this is loading up, I'm going to use the bathroom. You want some more tea?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Bet, I'll be right back.
All right, word.
This is going to be dope to have this cooking up on camera.
Oh, you can see it?
Yeah, like it's like showing do.
Oh,
So
shit.
I'll just put like a screen recording of that. Woo. Alrighty, this thing should be done. Let's see. Yeah, do your thing. Yo, while Adam's going to the bathroom, I just want to say, like, I really appreciate y'all who are watching this. I'm making this not because I want likes and, I mean, don't get me wrong. I want that to spread these messages as far as possible, likes, comments, subscribes, all that. But I don't really check it right now. I'm just more in the aspect of digging into these deeper conversations about transhumanism, the human experience, about self-growth, and just give y'all some real messages. And the thing is, too, even for me now, being in this moment, these are the gems I'm receiving from doing this. Later on, when I gotta edit it, stitch the footage together, get everything else together to publish it, to give it to y'all, that's me documenting it for future me, but also as a means to give y'all some new thoughts. There's a lot of bullshit thoughts in the world, so, you know, out of love, we gotta just put each other on to more information, different perspectives. We on the same planet together. We from the same source code, so we gotta show love. All right, Adam just pulled up. All right, I'm about to send this to you.
All right.
Let's see. This is a nice story.
Look good?
This shit looks good. The motherfucker's name is Thomas.
Your character?
Yeah, his name Thomas.
And what is the other character's name?
It just says C1 and C2, character 1, character, because they're both Thomas. We both Thomas.
Oh, true. Yeah.
We both Thomas.
I should have known that. We are both Thomas.
So you're higher Thomas. I'm human Thomas.
You're human Thomas. I'm ascended Thomas.
Yeah, you're ascended. Oh, that sounds crazy. Like Pit and Dark Pit.
Yeah.
Jin and Double Jin.
Where you send it to?
Mouth de la Cruz.
Okay.
Just sent it.
There we go.
Got it?
Timeless Encounters. Yeah.
All right, let's get it. You ready? Scene 1. A cozy living room in a British cottage. Thomas, a middle-aged British man dressed in a simple button-down, shirt and trousers. Character 2. Thomas's higher self, a mysterious figure with an otherworldly presence, dressed in an ethereal garment that seems to change colors with every movement. Thomas is sitting in his living room reading a book on reincarnation. Suddenly, a flash of light appears and his higher self materializes in front of him.
Wow.
Blimey, who are you? How'd you get in here?
Greetings, Thomas. I am your higher self, the part of you that exists outside of time and space in the fifth dimension. I am here to help you understand the cycle of reincarnation.
You're having a laugh, right? This must be some sort of prank.
I assure you, Thomas, this is no prank. I have much to share with you.
Scene 2, the same living room, now dimly lit and filled with a swirling image of past lives. C2, you begin slowly to show me a series of images representing my past lives. These are my past lives?
Yes, Thomas, each one is an incarnation you have experienced, a chance for your soul to learn and grow.
I can't believe it. I was a knight in medieval times, a scientist in the 18th century, and is that me as a woman in the Victorian era? What?
Indeed. You have lived many lives and experienced many different perspectives.
But why? What's the purpose of it all?
The ultimate purpose is for your soul to learn, grow, and evolve. Each life provides unique opportunities and challenges, allowing you to develop wisdom, compassion, and understanding.
Scene 3, the living room returns to its original state. The images fade away and the room returns to normal. So what now? How do I use this newfound knowledge?
Embrace the lessons of your past lives, Thomas. Apply them to your current life and strive for growth, understanding, and love. Your soul's journey is never ending, and every life is a chance for transformation.
Thank you. This experience is truly eye-opening.
You're welcome, Thomas. Remember, I am always with you, guiding you from the fifth dimension.
C2 fades away. Oh, shit! Oh, it just ended!
Yo, that was dope.
The timing of that is insane! Yo,
that was literally like what it is. I believe that's what it is, man. Just that.
did we end the episode like that?
Just ended like that. That was beautiful, man.
Yo,
I mean,
that would be an interesting format, though.
If you want to keep it like that, if you want to do more, but like that I mean, that's cute.
Something about that just happened the way
It's nice. You know?
Nah, that's it. That's not.
Yeah.
That's done. We just fade out from there. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was great.